Hey everyone, it's Nixie, and today I want to make a quick video to help those playing in Nats and Callings all over the world with some quick tips on how I approach the meta heroes, as well as my latest deck list. I am unfortunately not able to make it to Vegas this year because I have an 11-month-old named Dorinthia. No joking, it's not Dorinthia. My wife wouldn't approve of that. But her name is Arya, which is awesome. So hopefully I can make it out next year when she's a bit older and maybe, she'll come along and you guys get to meet her. But, let's talk about some of the meta heroes that you'll most likely see when you're fighting in these tournaments and get you prepared for them. And the meta heroes that we're probably going to see is Lexi, Iyslander, Bravo, and maybe even some Dromai. Let's start with Lexi since she will most likely be the most represented hero. Lexi did take a bit of hit from the Bullseye Bracers ban, but they can still dish out a lot of damage. My approach into this matchup is take advantage of their 2 blocks and no D-reacts that they have in their lists and just go straight to face. Eventually they'll have to block out a churn and try to reset our counters, and if you're able to go over and preserve those counters, then you're looking really good. Normally you just want to race and just take the damage that they throw out, but there are some cards that you want to watch out for. The cards you want to block out are ones that will stop your churn, like Sleep Darts. And maybe some Endless Arrows because letting them shoot that many times can be painful. Also Heat Seeker because that card is very strong. But try not to use cards from hand to block as much as possible because you want to have those cards to go over their blocks if they do end up blocking. So try to use armor as much as possible. I would say this matchup is slightly in our favor, but still very close, and matters on who draws their power cards first to gain momentum. So, go second to start off with the tempo and put pressure on them early. Next we have Iyslander. She can be built in the Bulllander or Arcane version, but we approach this matchup in the same way for both of them, which is to preserve cards in hand and try to get counters and force them to block. Most lists only run sinks, so that's only 3 D-reacts. So most of the time you could go over their blocks, as long as we have the resources. So that is why we need to keep cards in hands to pay for those frostbites that they might throw out or blizzards, things like that. You should also ignore most of the waning moon that they'll throw at you because you want to keep those cards. Only time you will probably want to pay for some arcane is if you know that you have a dead churn. If they are on Bulllander, it's kind of good because a lot of those cards are 2 blocks, so it's easier for us to go over, as well as you could use Bracers and Bolters to block and keep cards in hand. So that's 4 extra health you have from just using armor to block. I would say this matchup is favored for us. Try to go first to not let them arsenal anything, churn 0, as well as leak damage from arcane because we are going to be only using AB1. Next is the up-and-coming Bravo. They're most likely on 6 to 9 D-reacts, so try not to get greedy early on. If you try to go for a big churn early and you take out a lot of damage the churn before, then they could just block out with some cards in hand, with some D-reacts as well, and then if you can't get over that block, then you're maybe stuck with 2 to 3 cards in hand. And that's basically you lost 6 to 9 health. So that's very bad, and that's where I think a lot of Dories could struggle. So try to play patient and minimize damage and play the mid-range game. If you get too low, they can start dominating their attacks and just kill you there too. Once they are low on D-reacts, that's when you could switch gears and try to go a bit more aggressive and take some damage to set up a big churn. Because they will start needing to overblock, which will allow you to fatigue them. or you could go over that block because he kept cards in hand, and now they're really far behind. I would say depending on you and your opponent's experience level in this matchup, it can be slightly favored to maybe just even. Go first to get that tuning counter, as well as not letting them dominate turn 0 and leaking damage. Last we have Dromai. Most lists right now are on the aggressive side, but they still can run some D-reacts like Sinks and Fates, as well as Oasis and Sand Cover, so you can't completely just race them, because they have a good chance of resetting a counter, and if they do, that sets us back really far. And their game plan is to usually mix a lot of attack actions with some dragons here and there, and whittle us down. Their win con is usually to get us slow enough, then overwhelm us with dragons, and we don't have enough churns to build up that Dawnblade counter, and then we just kind of lose from there. They can also chip in damage with Azvila and burn them off, so you also have to be careful with that, because if you don't have any arcane block, that could be very detrimental. So what you want to do for this matchup is not to get too low too early, and minimize damage by blocking out their attack actions that they throw at us, and slowly build up our counter by swinging once into a dragon if they put one down, then have the second swing go into Dromai to strip cards, or go into another dragon to guarantee a counter. I would normally swing at that second dragon if it's a problematic dragon that's on board, or the board state is getting too out of hand. Once you are around 3 counters, try to get a Twinning Blade in Arsenal, because that is what's going to help you allow to go straight to face at Dromai when they might be ready to try to reset your counters. So once you have the 3 counters, play a go again on Dawnblade, swing at them with 3 counters, you're swinging for 6 minimum. They might block for 12 with armor and things, but then you play a Twinning Blade to go around it, and then now you blow them out of the water. After that, try to maintain the counters by going at Dragon and then Dromai again, or go straight at face at Dromai if you feel like they're gonna try to race you because you're both maybe sub 20 now. But you should be in a pretty good spot at that point. This one should be favored for us, and I would go second in this matchup to try and strip cards from them turn 1. So yeah, there you go. As you see, I think we are kind of favored into the metal hero, so Dory is in a pretty good spot right now. I'll leave a link to my latest deck list in the description, although everyone should have their decks finalized by now, so I don't know how helpful it is, but I think something that you guys could look at in the future. I wish everyone the best of luck and hope to see some Dories topping the events. Hope you have fun and see you all next time. Good luck!